All right, welcome back. So if you're a founder and you're running at full speed, just working tirelessly, but you feel like the whole thing is
Yeah.
stuck, not really growing, just churning, then this deep dive is for you. We're talking about the most frustrating obstacle there is, the founder's blind spot, those invisible barriers that keep your business from going from stuck to unstoppable.
Exactly. And what's so interesting is that when growth stalls, we tend to look for some huge failure, right? Or a big strategy we missed.
Right, the one big thing.
The one big thing. But the research suggests these blind spots are just a natural result of working in the business every day. They're unseen, not because you're careless, but because you are, well, you're just too close to it all.
Okay, so our mission here is to start noticing them.
Yes. Because the problem usually isn't one huge flaw. It's a collection of small, unseen inefficiencies just compounding.
Okay, let's unpack that. We have to start with what feels like the most personal one, the memory trap. This is where, all the essential info, the client history, the key decisions, it all just lives in your head.
And if you think about it, that reliance on memory and intuition is inherently unscalable. You might be brilliant, but when every decision depends on what feels right to you, the founder,
And there's no system.
there's no documented process. And results become totally unpredictable the second someone else has to touch that system.
But isn't relying on memory just necessary when you're moving fast? I mean, stopping to document everything just slow things down.
Well, you'd think so, but it actually creates the opposite problem. It leads right into the I can do it all trap.
The bottleneck.
You become the bottleneck. That reliance on being the only one with the knowledge forces you to be the constraint on capacity. To put a fine point on it, you're trying to scale past your own physical limits. If you're handling all of sales, operations, and customer service yourself, you're not a brilliant CEO. You're just an incredibly overworked chief operator.
And those bottlenecks, they start to cause damage. They show up as ignoring the small leaks. This is that cumulative drag from tiny things that just bleed momentum. We're talking about like that one client whose invoice is always late, or that really talented team member who's underutilized because their goals aren't clear.
And that ties right into maybe the hardest trap to escape, the activity illusion.
Being busy but not productive.
Exactly. Those small leaks are so easy to ignore because you're doing so much work, you're busy, you're putting in the long hours. But if those tasks aren't aligned with the 2 or 3 strategic goals that actually move the needle, you're just confusing busyness with progress.
That cumulative damage is just brutal. So if these things are invisible, how do we shine a light on them? What are the practical steps?
The first step is what we call gaining altitude. You have to step outside your day-to-day. You have to. Review the business from, say, 30,000 feet and ask yourself, which critical parts of this business are actually running efficiently without my direct input this week?
And you don't have to figure it out alone. Your team is your center network. You need to ask them the tough questions, not how are things, but really specific things like, if I weren't here tomorrow, what would break?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and one thing frustrates you most about our processes. The answers are uncomfortable, I know, but they are pure gold.
And beyond that, just remember that numbers don't lie. Audit your metrics. Honestly, the numbers will show you weak points that your gut, your intuition will just try to rationalize away. Look at customer churn, sales conversion rates, and especially, scrutinize those cash flow trends. They reveal patterns you need to see.
Okay, that brings us to quick wins. We don't need a huge, expensive overhaul here. We just need small, powerful actions. Start by documenting just one repetitive area, let's say client onboarding. Just mapping out who does what will instantly uncover steps you're still doing just out of pure habit. And to feel an immediate expansion of your own capacity, commit to delegate or automate one task this week, even a small one. It forces you to define the process and frees up just a sliver of your mental focus.
And finally, schedule one dedicated blind spot interview. Do it with an advisor or even a trusted team member. And you ask them this one specific question. What's one thing I'm not seeing that's holding the business back?
And the key is?
The key is don't defend, don't rationalize. Just listen, take notes, and let it sink in.
That shift from just being busy to being truly strategic, that's everything. Blind spots are normal, but they only become blockers if we refuse to acknowledge they exist.
Which leaves one big question for you to think about. If you went and audited your cash flow trends and reviewed employee productivity reports today, right now, what specific uncomfortable pattern might you realize you've been actively avoiding? Go find that answer, and you'll find your path forward.